Griffiths. I'm the president of the Georgia First Amendment Foundation and one of the troublemakers on our board. And I am delighted that you're all here tonight. Before the dinner, I hope that some of you had a chance to take a close look at the mobile over there. I call it No Obstruction to Free Speech. Creating that thing has been a real eye-opener. When I started the research for it, I knew only too well from my time at CNN that President Trump had issues with the media. Sometimes I was on the receiving end of phone calls from officials who weren't happy with our reporting. And certainly I knew all about Richard Nixon, who had my favorite anti-journalist quote of all time. He said, "Don't get the impression that you, the press, aroused my anger. You see, one can only be angry with those he respects." Ouch. But as I researched, I was surprised by how many presidents had looked squinty-eyed at the Fourth Estate. William H. Taft. "The newspaper publishers profess to be the agents of heaven in establishing virtue," he complained. Taft went on to make clear he didn't think newspaper publishers were that virtuous themselves. Or Chester Arthur, who I suspect was also speaking for many future presidents. "Madam, I may be President of the United States," he said, "but my private life is nobody's damn business." Even Thomas Jefferson, who routinely extolled the virtues of a free and independent press, penned his doubts. "Nothing can now be believed which is seen in a newspaper. Truth itself becomes suspicious by being put into that polluted vehicle." Today, Jefferson would likely have taken to Twitter with the hashtag fake news. At first, this tangle of quotes makes me feel a tad better. These tensions have existed between government officials and the media for more than 250 years. What's different and scary is this. Now, it is most members of the public who are not sure that they can trust the media. As the excellent 2018 Edelman Trust Survey shows us, trust in the media among the general population is down to 42% in the US. 42%. That's a drop of 5 percentage points among the general population from last year. And for the so-called informed public, that would be you, right? The people who read the newspapers, who have had college educations. Trust in the media has fallen 22 percentage points in the last year. Just like the general population, only 42% of the informed public believe and trust the media. And the tangle of presidential quotes over on the mobile over there notwithstanding, when you have trust in media as an institution falling this low, I believe it represents a real threat to the American values expressed in our First Amendment. When journalism can be vilified so easily, the work of journalists can be seen as irrelevant. When journalists are irrelevant, then government can be unchecked, and the powerful can feel empowered to crush journalism and journalists. And in my journalism consulting work in Eastern Europe, I'm seeing that happen regularly. Globally, the lost trust has resulted in an environment where journalists face tough restraints in their reporting, regular intimidation, even as it now appears, murder by hit squad, where the perpetrators believe they can get away with it and nobody will notice or care. So, in the United States, where at least there is some protection from the First Amendment, what should news organizations do about the plunging trust? Well, if you were hoping for a quick 9-second soundbite solution, I'm going to disappoint, because now I'm spending time at UGA and at UNC with professors teaching. I'm now into thinking that the appropriate length of a soundbite is 1 semester. But here are some bullet points that I try to preach anytime I have the opportunity. We in the news media have to make clear to the public our editorial values and standards. We need to put it out there publicly on our sleeve. We need to be aggressively transparent about our editorial processes. I don't know about you, but as a retired editor, I sometimes get frustrated clicking on a topic, especially online, only to figure out it's a caustically written op-ed, not a carefully crafted piece of reporting. The audience at home just sees that op-ed as biased reporting. They don't understand the difference between hard editorial reporting and an op-ed. And we need to make that difference between reporting, analysis, and opinion so much clearer. As journalists, we need to be much more willing to acknowledge our mistakes and what we have done to avoid repeating those mistakes. And we have to undertake much more value-added reporting. We have to turn over rocks, look underneath them, and ask the questions that the audience at home doesn't have the resources or sometimes the curiosity to take on. I'm heartened by the fact that most of the journalists in this room are already doing those things. I'm suggesting we have to amp it up. We have to put it on steroids. Okay, some of you Supreme Court justices, state, county, and city officials have been staring at me with a slightly blank look, wondering what does this have to do with them? Why would they care about this? Well, that Edelman Trust Survey has a message for you too, sadly. If you think a 42% trust rating for the media is bad, how about 33% trust in government in the United States? Among you, the informed public, trust in government plummeted 30 percentage points year over year. That's a 30-point trust drop from 2017 to 2018. And that matches the US general population. So what kind of challenges occur when the public doesn't trust government or the courts to serve the best interests of society? I think we're seeing them. An increasingly tribal electorate where those with the other party are the enemy to be destroyed, and where generally public officials are cynically seen to be in it to only line their own pockets. And this room, we all know terrific public servants who do everything they can to do right by the citizens of this state, the county, the city. But the negative impressions are exacerbated when the public has a hard time understanding what's going on, either because the issue is complicated or because citizens can't get the information they need. You only have to, sadly, look at the last administration at Atlanta City Hall to see how unpleasant closed government can get. If you need a reminder of what happened, leaf through your program. But tonight, Atlanta's a city where citizens and city government have something to celebrate. And in a time where trust in government is at all-time lows, transparency is one of the best tools for building trust. After taking a major hammering from the investigative reporters at WSB and the AJC, among others, and a complaint to the Attorney General by the Cox Media Group, and the City of Atlanta has taken on a revolutionary new approach by embracing open government on steroids. The mayor and the city can, yes. The mayor and the city council have gone beyond the core records of the Open Records Act to promise a whole new approach. To hire a transparency officer, put government data online, and build a tracking system to keep an eye on the open records requests. You could say that the city is trying to create an artwork of its own, no obstruction to open government. Out of tough conflict has come great creativity. Among our guests this evening is Atlanta City Attorney Nina Hickson, whom you will recall also took a stand for open government when she worked for the Beltline. I'd like her to step up to the podium, please. These repurposed wooden boxes, they're filled with chocolate. On the outside, on the front, is the First Amendment. And on the outside are quotes from the mobile over there as a reminder both of what you have to achieve, but also what the challenges will be. And I hope you will take one to the mayor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
As I'm sure Nina knows, the hard work of making this proposal work is just beginning. I want to highlight two other major wins for citizens in open government this year that are very important. Georgia Supreme Court ruled this summer that just because information could be exempted under open records law, state agencies were not required to keep the information secret if that government agency concludes releasing it is in the public interest. And private hospitals created by public authorities to undertake the public's work have to abide by the transparency laws that governments must follow. Two very important decisions for openness and transparency, and we thank the Supreme Court. Key tools for the work of the Foundation's open government work are our so-called Little Red Book, a citizen's guide to open government. It's a cute little red book. It's not the sayings of Chairman Mao, but it contains the open records laws in Georgia and how to work through them. It's a nice little guidebook. And then there's a blue book, a law enforcement officer's guide to open records. These books are used extensively in our training of public officials, like a session we did earlier today in Alpharetta, where public officials, the people who control the public records from all over the northwestern part of Georgia, from Gainesville, all came to Alpharetta. We had 40 people show up for that training. That was outstanding work by our team. And Ken Foskett and Jim, where are you? They were the trainers for that program today. Today, I'm delighted to announce that the Georgia First Amendment Foundation will soon be republishing significantly updated versions of our guidebooks. Board member attorney Peter Canfield has already made the first pass at the Red Book, and we'll be bringing that update to our partners with the AG's office shortly, so AG's office, be on notice. And in the pipeline is a yellow book, a guide to open records and courts in Georgia, a document that may be particularly useful to many of the folks here. And candidly, we're going to be coming to some of you to ask advice as we work through that. The substantial updating work and publishing efforts are made possible by, and we're announcing this tonight, a generous $10,000 gift from the Department of Journalism at the University of Georgia's Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication through its William S. Morris Chair in News Strategy and Management. Dr. Keith Herndon is a professor of practice in journalism, holds that William S. Morris Chair, and has championed our projects at Grady.